I'm going to be talking today a little bit about my journey from first when I got hired on, was when I was looking at it last night. Our first commit in our code was my first month at the company. So we'd been around for 13 years or so, but moving over to our new backend, that was, and last year I gave a talk on from self-taught to first job, and also my last name was Johnson at the time, and something else that's just kind of a fun side note since we're here is at that conference, my now husband proposed to me the last night of the conference, so that was really sweet. Thank you. If any of you guys remember all the anime people that were there, he just thought I would share. At the last conference, it was like, who was at the last conference? Okay, yeah. So there was like a bunch of anime people, and I think it's hilarious, but he thought there was a really cute spot, right? Like all those there were all these little trees, but it just so happened to be where the anime people were having their big party. So I got proposed to amongst all the anime folks, and it was great. They're wonderful. So this is TravelPass. You guys are welcome to scroll our site while you listen to me if you want. That's our QR code. And like I said, we've been around for 10 plus years. Our background is in Ruby. And like I said, it wasn't until about 2 years ago that we started trying to decide what to do since it wasn't working for us. So our vision at TravelPass is to create a more interconnected and understanding world, and we hope to enrich the lives of others through travel. And also experiences, and anything else we continue to add on to our platform, we hope to make it better. How we do that is we are partnered currently with companies like Expedia and other OTAs, and we aggregate all the best deals from all the websites that we can hook into, and we hope to get you the best deals. We hope to save you some time so you don't have to search all the other websites. And we also have a goal to never stop innovating. So we really needed a good platform so we could do this, but the problem is we didn't. Before I get into that though, I wanted to share a little bit about what some of our people at TravelPass have been up to. Hi, Mona. So right now, my first team lead, he's in Japan, and just kind of to give you guys a bit of that vision of what we hope for people. He shared yesterday about being at Hiroshima, which is where the United States dropped bombs on and it ended the World War, right? He just said, not a lot of words for today, pretty solemn and somber day. This is yesterday. I imagine looking back on this trip, though we connect the world through travel, we'll have felt more profoundly today than any other day of this trip. The memorial is incredible and heartbreaking, and certainly made the journey worth the effort. It was a truly moving experience that I will not soon forget. So I hope that as we also go out and have experiences that we can feel some of those same things that Josh had said he felt yesterday. This is just what we've been up to in the last 4 months or so at TravelPass. I went on our Explore with TravelPass page and found people who have gone to Australia, and one of my friends, I learned she was in Florida just yesterday at Orlando. I was like, hey, I'm there too. This is a bit what I've been up to. So my favorite being a family reunion. We'll see if it'll let me press play on this. Where I didn't even realize the roller coaster was in literally the backyard of Utah. And then one-wheeling in Alaska was also a lot of fun. So who has a phone here? Everyone has a phone? Okay, so pull it out and go to this QR code here. And let me see if I can go to the page. Oh my gosh, I may have accidentally gotten rid of it. Okay, do I? Okay. Okay. How do I press play? Oh gosh. I wanted to use a new one because last one costed money and this one was free. Right? And now I can't figure out where the button is to press play. My presentations. Okay, present. Now my mouse will work for me. Oh my gosh, there we go. Present. Okay, alrighty, so you guys can scan this QR code. What's that? Oh, what do you mean? Oh, my screen. You know, guys, let's skip this. I really wanted to get to know you guys, but turns out, or I just feel like software engineers are such a silent crowd, and it's like the best way I can get to like interact with you guys. But if you guys want to actually just like talk for a second, that would be so great. Okay, so what are some of your guys' favorite trips that you've been on? Maybe like 3 people give a favorite trip. What? Europe? Zanzibar. Oh, where is that even? Oh, cool. Cool. South Africa is a place I'd want to go. Anyone else want to share one? Lake Tahoe. That's awesome. And one more. Ecuador. That's great. And then I was going to ask where you guys are all from. Oh, just a raise of hands. You know, this is like the last talk before you guys, you know, we go hear Jose. Who has any... Clap if you've... No, not clap. That one won't work. Raise your hand if you have not gone and met Jose. If you have not gone and shaken Jose's hand. Wow, that's actually a lot more than I was expecting. I was thinking everyone would have already gone and said hi. Okay, back to my presentation. Okay. So this is last year at the conference. There are a lot more of us from my company here because right now we're in crunch time because we have some big goals. We're working with a major partner in Salt Lake, and in October we'll have a QR code in every seat in their stadium. And so we already have like 3 million or so users, but we are going to have a lot more, hopefully, in October. So we had this goal to do this thing in October, but our backend had some issues. And those issues were with scaling, with onboarding new engineers. We've grown our team by like 10 times this last year. Extensibility, speed, and we also had difficulty debugging. So we needed to choose whether we were going to do a refactor or a rewrite. So we ultimately decided on doing a rewrite. It was actually something we really advocated for. And we decided on Elixir for all of these reasons that we all know and love, and I will also go into more of them. But I'll start with the ones that we really had issues with. So speed is the first one. So any system can be made inefficient with bad architecture. I originally thought when I did this presentation, I wanted to learn why, because I was so new. I was self-taught first job last year. And I wanted to know why we decided to migrate over, and I was like, I'm sure that Elixir made us so much faster because of concurrency. And I actually learned that we were just really poorly architected. So the engineer at the time did this thing called a field mapper, which so our providers are like Expedia or Priceline, took their structs and made it into a map and then back and forth and all this stuff. Anyways, it was at the core of our system, and it cost us about 5 seconds. So if you were to go get a rate, we'd get, like if you were to go search for a hotel, we'd get those rates back in 3 seconds, but then we'd spend another 5 seconds doing this map to struct thing that really didn't need to happen. So with having better architecture, and I'm sure concurrency has helped a lot, we've decreased the time it takes to get rates back by 8 times. So the next one is scalability. We have, so it costs money to run an application. You have these AWS servers, and so we, by actually taking advantage of some of the concurrency and such, have decreased or have saved our costs by 10 times, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But first, I wanted to talk about why our system also may have been difficult to scale in some ways. And I don't know if we made it any better yet, but there's some debate on it, so I'll go into detail on that. So our Ruby system was a monolith, which means all of the applications are very coupled together. So let's say that we are trying to get rates back, and maybe we're sending data to our data services, and we have all these things we're doing, and we just want to scale those 2 applications, but because they're so coupled together, we end up having to just create a bunch of instances of these. So our Umbrella app, we are hoping, so does anyone else use an Umbrella app? Raise of hands. Oh my gosh, I am interested to hear your experiences, because I feel like there's a little bit of debate on whether we like it or not on our team, as I'm sure there are on yours. But the goal of the Umbrella app, we read this thing from Anton Mishuk and decided that it would be a good thing for us to try, is that you have these different, so you have one Beam instance, and you have all your applications running on that same Beam instance. It's all in the same project when you open it up. And then the goal is that you have these interface functions, and with like strong boundaries, so that if you ever need to take an app out, you can, and you might be able to have multiple Beam instances if for whatever reason you needed to scale just one of your applications. So like I said, I don't know how much cost that's saving us, but I do know that this concurrency and parallelism in Elixir is saving us money. So I had just reviewed that with Tyler yesterday and wanted to make sure, and that is true. So concurrency, with concurrency, you might have, like on a 4-core system in Ruby, you can still only do like one scheduler to, so concurrency means that one process doesn't take up all the time. You can run a little bit of it, and then you can run another process of another one, and ultimately, yeah. So, and in the Beam instance, you can run a ton of different schedulers. So on our AWS servers, we were able to have a ton of different more schedulers going on these concurrent, running these processes concurrently. So the next one is difficulty debugging. I was thinking about, so I took a dinosaurs class, and Ruby can be a lot like this. I learned that birds descend from dinosaurs, which descends, so the bird comes from the Turdidae family, which is a type of thrush, and then the thrush comes from the order of Parasomiformes, and then that comes from the theropod, and then that comes from the dinosaurs. So, so it can get really hard in Ruby just because it has all these layers of inheritance to find exactly what's going wrong. So it just evolves over time. So in Elixir, debugging is made easier, probably for a lot of the reason is just simply it's a functional programming language, and that's just easier to debug. And I like that with pattern matching, you can do all those with statements and throw out things that any of the errors you can match on easier. Something I learned at Gig City Elixir is that 30 to 50% of an engineer's time is spent on debugging, and 50 to 75% of the company's budget is spent on debugging. So if you guys get a chance to listen to this talk by Amos King, The Importance of Shepherding, it's probably like one of the best talks that I've heard on this topic, period. And he uses a Livebook, and he uses recon trace as well to go from just your entire application trying to figure out what's going on, and he narrows it down to the very thing that you're doing. So go watch that talk. It's on Gig City Elixir 2023. Okay, the other thing is extensibility. So it was very complex, and we have a lot of goals too. So we have a lot of goals to just continue extending out, and we needed to build a lot. And Elixir allows us to build quickly. So Rob Merrill, he was with another company, and they had said, so they were trying to decide if they're going to add on another feature, and they ultimately decided it was quicker to rewrite everything in Elixir and add that feature than just add that feature in Golang. So Golang, even though it has concurrency and this parallelism, it can take a lot longer to write. So that's another big advantage that we have. Another one was onboarding engineers. I'm curious, have you guys had a good experience onboarding new engineers in Elixir? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, it's the only language I know, so I feel like I've had a good experience, but I have nothing to compare it to. So, so we have scaled up our team 10 times, and bringing on new engineers has been great. I feel like we've been able to get people up to speed, and that's been great. So, something that I had promised was just to talk a little bit about GenServer and how we use that to send data to data services. Anyone want to give a brief summary of what GenServer is?
It's just a long-lived process. Thanks. So it's just a long-lived process. You can send messages to it, and it can receive messages, and it hangs on to state. Thank you.
So it worked great for us because so you don't have to do a lot of, you implement the functions that they they handle the overall and you handle the details. So, or GenServer handles overall and you handle the details. So this is what it looks like in our application. When we go to book, that's the other thing is we needed it to happen in as real time as possible. So this is just something, it doesn't impact anything else. It's just a side note, we book something, and side note, it goes to Kinesis. And that's an AWS service where then our data service team can pull the payloads off of. This is what that code looks like. I won't explain every step of it because that would be rather boring. Yeah, like I said, we chose to use it because a company that we're in. So now we've implemented multiple streams because we actually learned that you can reach a threshold. So we lost a bunch of data for that. So if you go to implement it, make sure you are looking at your thresholds. I'll continue to go over some things that I love about Elixir. But what additional things do you guys love about Elixir, or what are some of your things that you're happy with? Pattern matching, yes. yeah, that one's awesome. Anyone else?
Amazing documentation.
Right, 100%. Yeah, do you come from anywhere that you may have struggled with that, or?
I can't think of another language that I like documentation as well.
That's awesome. That's great to hear because like I said, I haven't experienced anything else. One is that it's a functional language. I just asked our team, and Rob Jenkins just said, it makes a lot of sense for parsing our responses. The pattern matching is just a lot clearer. You don't have to use a bunch of if-else statements. I love, like I said, the with statements. Ruby-like syntax. How many people came from Ruby here? A lot of Ruby people, yeah. And that's something else my dad was like, make sure you don't bash on Ruby in your talk because, but I mean, we already had that at the beginning of the conference with the song. So, yeah, so that's great. I think it's important that you find a language that you can jive with the community, and I think most everyone here would agree. We decided on it, like I said, it was recommended to us by multiple of the more senior devs on our team, and honestly, I don't think we would have been able to, like, had we switched to a different language, I don't know that we would have had some of those, like, we would have found other very smart people, but the team that we have, I think they really did want to work in something that was new and could do all the things that Elixir does. Good stable versioning library. Has anyone worked with libraries that are not stable with versioning? Control? No? Most all have?
Libraries that try to be and make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's going to happen anywhere.
Right. Testing is great. Who practices test-driven development here? Is that like a common thing for people to do? Kind of ish, yeah. I've been trying to be a lot better about it, and it's been great. Like, did anyone go to Mickey's talk where she talked about, right? Oh, you went to your own talk, Mickey? Yeah. So testing is something I think. One point that my dad had made is that some languages you're trying to decide between which testing library to use, and Elixir just got it right with one of them, so you don't have to be paralyzed by which one to even use. Ecto's great, the ORMs. Do you guys have mixed feelings on ORMs, or do you like ORMs? Do you like Ecto?
My feelings are not mixed, they are quite negative.
Really? So how does Ecto compare?
Vietnam of computer science. Anyone else read that article? It's like 20 years ago, ORMs in the Vietnam of computer science.
Oh gosh. Wait. Will you explain?
I mean, the intro quote that I'm not going to do justice is brilliant, where he basically says it may sound trite to say it, but like Vietnam, ORMs seem like a good idea at first, but before you know it, you're entrenched with no clear goals, no clear exit strategy, and no real remaining benefits. I forget exactly what it is. Do you remember, Bruce? Something like that, yeah. And that's very much been my experience with ORMs. Is like they get you going quick, but before you know it, you're stuck with all these problems.
Has that remained true with Ecto?
I do not have the pleasure of using Elixir professionally.
Okay.
In Python with an ORM that is causing all sorts of pain for us.
Oh gosh, I might hand this to Bruce. Do you want to comment on that?
No, I think that Ecto's design patterns do a lot of separation that you don't get with a typical ORM. They separate the idea of the process machinery and failure with the repo, and the other side of the coin with the composability strategies in the query language, and also leave a trap door so that you can get access to the features underneath. So I like Ecto quite a lot, actually.
It's also just a lot more explicit.
Thank you.
Magic under the hood to like make your life easy, and then like as soon as eventually that might seem.
I think being explicit is part of the Elixir philosophy of design things. For sure. That makes a difference.
Yeah. Okay. The next one I want to talk about does anyone else have anything they want to say on that? No. The other one I want to talk about is developer happiness. So who does work professionally in Elixir right now? I'm curious your happiness levels in Elixir versus other languages. Great. Will you talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm coming from a Ruby background, so I think it's much better, the ecosystem and the functional paradigm and maintainability of the code over time. If I dive into the Elixir code base, I can find out what's going on, where it's more of maybe an adventure on the Ruby side, but you know, when you're trying to fix a problem, that you're not after an adventure right then.
Thank you. Yeah, going back to the dinosaur thing, it's easier to find. Okay, I went over this a little bit of speed of development, and I also want to hear if that remains true. Have you guys found projects to go quicker in your Elixir projects? Yay, nay? Yeah? Yes, you have? And what would you compare it to? Like, what other languages do you feel like also do a good job at this? Ruby, really? Yeah. So why is it? Why is it that it goes faster? The tooling? Yeah.
So I feel that LiveView makes things a lot faster because before you spend so much time pulling information out of the database, crunching that information into some kind of form, passing it down to the client, and then in the client you have to spend code reading that information and chewing it. And so that's an enormous amount of code that's no longer in our code base whatsoever. We eliminate all of the serialization and deserialization of data in our code base, and that takes about 1/3 of the code away, and at least half of the headaches.
Wow, that's amazing. We use GraphQL, and so we don't have that same luxury, but that's amazing. Anyone else using GraphQL with it? Yeah? How have you liked it? Yeah? Do you guys want to be using LiveView? Or, like, are you stuck with it? Or do you like, sincerely like GraphQL?
I would say there's still a case for GraphQL, especially if your app has to support external access. You're going to want GraphQL API. So I don't think it's necessarily one replaces the other. But if you're talking front end, I'd much rather be talking to LiveView.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think sometimes you might build out a backend and hope that you can continue to have other clients. I know that might be the case for our company. I don't know exactly the vision on that, but if we ever did want to sell our backend to another system, they can use it. So yeah, that's a good point. Just overall stability. I think I didn't mention fault tolerance, but zero downtime is a good thing. Okay, I wanted to touch a little bit on Livebook. What are we at with time? 7 minutes? Okay, so our, I don't touch our provider's app, but our senior engineers, they use Livebook all the time to test out our entire booking flow and play around with things. So you probably know this, but you can hook in your your entire application can be hooked into Livebook, and you can play around with just certain parts of your code in there. He showed us something kind of fun that I just wanted to share with Kino. Has anyone used Kino? Yeah, Kino. Okay, so I thought I would just introduce Kino. People probably have a better understanding of everything it does than I do. But if I can, again, oh, it's not going to let me play, is it? Because I have, maybe it, what is this on my screen? Oh, here we go. Now I can, that's right, it does that. Okay. Can you guys see this? Oh, look at that. Wow, but now I can't see it. Displays, okay. Okay. Displays. Mirror. Oh gosh. Built-in display. Yeah. Anyone really fast at this? Anyone really fast at this? Huh?
There should be a mirroring one somewhere in attachments are.
Arrange.
It's not that one. I can't. They changed the UI on this in the last update, and everyone's why?
What's that?
We're in displays, but it's not the button that's normally there. Isn't in the place that I'm expecting it to be.
I'm like I think I'm the most recent. It's okay, guys. We'll end a little early, but play around with Livebook and Kino. It's fun. It has this little thing where you can, do you guys use DBG rather than just IO inspect? I hope we've all kind of played around with that. But if you do DBG in Kino, you can take it and like put one down, move one up, and just kind of play around with turn off a certain function and turn it back on, and just kind of play around with how the functions are working together. Okay, it sounds like you've done that. But I thought it was a fun thing that I could share, and now you can go figure it out yourself. Just put Kino into Livebook. And that's all I have for you guys. Do you guys have any questions?